Basketball fans, welcome back. So in a previous video, we've talked about the men's division in these KBF playoffs, and in this video, I'll be talking about the women's division in the Women's Premier League. So KPA, they finished number one in the number one seed. They are the champions with a 22-0 record. And the last time I've seen KPA take a loss in a league game was in the 2022 KBF finals. They lost to the Equity Hawks. I don't think they've taken a loss ever because they've gone unbeaten. And I've covered a lot of KPA games, especially the continental ones where they play in Zone 5 in the Africa Women's Basketball League. But in this one, I'll be keeping tabs with what's going to happen in the women's division as well. As the way we've been doing here on this channel, we talk about both the men's and women's sides. So KPA finished number one. The Equity Hawks finished number two, following them with a 19-2 record. And my God, this women's division, I must say, the only three teams that really do significant damage in the women's division. I made a video a while ago, about a few months ago, talking about why the women's division is weak. And I mentioned a couple of things in there. And I came out even and said that the women's division, majority of the times I've seen the top teams, when a player from one of the lower teams is successfully balls out and plays well, they immediately taken and absorbed in those top teams. Most notable, I've seen a couple of players from the Storms team through the years find new places where they can play, new teams they play for, and in the process, you're seeing a lot of talent just resides in either KPA, the Equity Hawks, or the ZTEC Sparks. So, and also congratulations to ZTEC Sparks. I even made a video talking about them beating KPA in the Eli Dowalo tournament. I know it was not a league game, but they were able to beat KPA in Kenyan soil, and that's something that doesn't happen all the time, because every single time KPA is always hammering these women's teams, especially this past weekend. They beat the Panthers 61-17. So it was such a thoroughly one-sided game. It was a one-sided beatdown, and the Anu Panthers just don't have any technical quality or even the talent to be able to match up against KPA. KPA just simply overmatches every single team. Yes, same case with the Equity Hawks and the ZTEC Sparks. And the USIU Flames also follow very closely. They are very closely. I've been following this team, and I feel like this team they're just underdogs. And looking at even the brackets, like the way they've been put, the KPA versus Panthers, that's a done deal. KPA just going to make the semis, and there's a high likelihood they're going to make the finals. Regardless of whoever they meet, I don't think KPA has any challengers in their bracket, because in their bracket, on the other side, if KPA makes it to the semis, we have they're going to take either the Swords or Flames. So whichever team comes out from that semis, KPA can easily take them on. And all roads show that the Hawks are going to win their matchup against the Eldones team. I don't think there's going to be an upset there. And the Sparks are going to make quick work of the Storms in a sweep, because the last time the Storms got swept in the first round. And I don't think they have what it takes to even do anything to the ZTEC Sparks, because stylistically, the ZTEC Sparks run and gun. I don't think the Storms have what it takes to go ahead and do anything significant. And all roads show that the matchup between the rematch, the Hawks versus the Sparks, is just going to be one for the ages, because last year we saw the ZTEC Sparks sweep the Equity Hawks to make it to the finals, something that majority of people did not expect to happen, because there was a high likelihood that the Hawks were going to win. All the indications showed that the Equity Hawks were going to win, but the ZTEC Sparks did the impossible and they made the sweep, and they went ahead and advanced to the finals, and they matched up against KPA, where they got swept. And it was a very relatively short and forgettable series in the KBF finals, because that game and that series, those games and those series, they are games that you have a tendency not to remember them, because it was just KPA just overmatching the ZTEC Sparks at the time. But looking at the way the brackets are, I must say there's not much to talk about and add on it, because we already know who is going to make it to the finals. In the KPA side, KPA is just going to make it to the finals. I don't see a scenario where the KPA lose in the semis, because given the roster additions, they added Aminata, they added Grace, they still retain the services of their players that they had, and they have so much depth in there. So it's very difficult for another team to come in and challenge them easily. So that's a given. They're going to make it to the finals. But on the other side, where the Hawks and the Sparks are, that's a place where anything can happen. I even foresee all the games being played out, because given the fact that it's a best of 3 series in the semis, and I don't know why KBF chose to change that, because it was a best of 5 in the semis, so that you give a team the chance to be able to at least see if they can beat a team 3 times in the semis, as opposed to the 2 times, because the 2 times could prove quite challenging. But all I'm just saying is the other bracket with the Hawks and the Sparks, where they are, that is where all the fireworks are going to be. This one, I feel like the only matchup that I must say stylistically that's going to be quite interesting in the playoffs in the KPA side is either the KPA matches up with the USIU Flames. If they match up with the USIU Flames, there's a high likelihood that's gonna be interesting. But if the Swords make it able to knock out the Flames, it's just gonna be very forgettable, and KP are just gonna breeze into the finals. So the teams that are gonna get relegated this season, you have the JQuad Lynx. They entered the Premier League. They've been there for like 2 seasons, and they're out. KU Oryx, they got relegated on there. And the KU Oryx, it was a sad team, because they didn't even record a win this season. They were just beat, and I feel like they also have a couple of games that they're supposed to play. So that's insane. I don't know what's going to happen with these things, because you're seeing a couple of teams deep into the season. Some teams have finished their regular season games, and a couple of them haven't finished. But looking at how things are, KU Oryx and JQuad Lynx are gone. The 9th and 10th seed, the 3 Swish, and UN Dynamites. I mean, at this point, I mean, it's the worst place to be, because when you're either the number 9th or number 10th seed, there's a high likelihood that you're going to miss out on everything. You're just there. You're just the middle tier. And that's the same thing I saw with the Eldonets and the Umoja team in the men's division. Like, they're just middle tier. They just have nothing going on for them. And they're just going to sit on the bleachers and just watch as the new champion is crowned. But all roads just show KP are just going to win the title yet again. And I must say, people have just gotten numb to this. And there's no other team that has been able to go ahead and challenge them. And a lot of times there's a tendency of teams just backing off KP. I'm not sure even understand why teams just back off KP when they play. They should at least go ahead and challenge, and should at least go ahead and show that they want to win the game, because majority of the time in the women's division, I made a video talking about why the women's division is weak, and majority of the things I said there just leaned on to one point. The only teams that take basketball seriously and take recruiting of players seriously are KPA, the Equity Hawks, and ZTech, and the USIU Flames. All the others, they're just there for the ride. There's no expectation. There's nothing that they are looking forward to. They have no goals. If you ask a team, what do you think? Do you think you're going to finish top 4, even top 5 and make the playoffs? They're not sure, because some players want to go ahead and win and challenge the other teams. The other players don't want to do that. And also the mentality of even coaching, because you're seeing a couple of coaches that are just delusional. You're seeing, I even saw an article from, I made a video talking about this. I saw an article, and I saw, it was actually from Citizen Digital. I saw the coach, Michael Oloch, he coaches the Anu Panthers and also the and Wolfpack said that, you know, they had some stretches where they didn't start off the game well. They're gonna pick it up the next game. But if they get blown out, what's the next excuse that's gonna drop? Did we start poorly? Because they started poorly all through. Like, they started off with a very, they didn't even have a strong foot in there, and they just got beat by north of like 50 points, and there's no defending that, and there's no way to be able to like even dissect the game, because it's so one-sided. You did actually nothing. You're only limited to 17 points. That means there's a quarter that you didn't even score anything. Even if you try to score in the fourth quarter, it doesn't even mean anything. So KPA just going to overmatch majority of the teams here. Hopefully they can not like back off, because I've seen a lot of teams just back off, and I've seen a lot of teams just, you know, let KPA do their thing, let the Equity Hawks do their thing, and let also the ZTEC Sparks do their thing. But one thing that I've seen that really I didn't like when it happened. Take the case of the ZTEC Sparks. I even made a post talking about this on my Instagram, and I just want to address it right now. So you have the ZTEC Sparks. They made it all the way to the finals, and they swept the Equity Hawks in the second round. Then, when it comes to going to Zone 5, the ZTEC Sparks didn't go, and they gave up their spot to the Equity Hawks. So the coach, Maurice Obi, he has done significant work in that ZTEC Sparks team. But the thing that I really do not understand is, why don't these teams who are in the playoffs budget to the point where if the eventual chance they make it to the finals, they don't give up their spot for Zone 5? Because it's very important you leave the country and go play in Zone 5. And just do not leave those spots for KPA and Equity all the time, because it's only KPA and Equity that have gone to the Zone 5 tournament every single time. You're not seeing any other different team. And that complacency from the other teams, not willing to even go ahead and invest and add money to their kitty so that they can go ahead and play, that really bothers me a lot. And I really do not understand it. The ZTEC Sparks, if you're listening, if the coach is listening, if the players are listening, if you're going to make it to the finals, make sure you play in Zone 5. Don't just leave your spot and give it to the Equity Hawks. I mean, the ZTEC Sparks swept the Equity Hawks, and the Equity Hawks illegitimately went to Zone 5 and the Africa Women's Basketball League. That spot should have been for the ZTEC Sparks if they made it. But they gave it up. So will they go ahead and give it up? Okay, let's even take an example of, let's say the USIU Flames and the ZTEC Sparks meet in the finals. That means KP and the Equity Hawks are knocked off. If these two teams, one of those two teams wins, both teams, the USIU Flames and the ZTEC Sparks, are showing to go to the Zone 5 tournament. Will they give up their spots to KP and the Equity Hawks? I'm just saying, like, these teams must budget for these things, and they have to understand that they're not just in there to just, go ahead and just participate. You're in there to compete, and that's why it's a best of 3 series. That's why it's a best of 5 series. Do something. Just don't just capitulate to the top teams. And that's just my opinion. So do drop me your comments in the comment section down below what you think about this. I mean, there's a lot of things I've talked about, but I will just be popping by with videos and talking about these things as they come. So make sure to like, share, subscribe to the channel, and also check out B+ Sports. Nice graphics as well. I've used these graphics in the previous video, so if you enjoy them, make sure to check them out. Like, share, subscribe to this channel, and I'm out. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.